This is what over $1,200 in GoPro equipment looks like, and it's in the boxes because it's going back to GoPro. Now, I did purchase all of this stuff. Here is my order. You can see how much I paid for everything here. $1,240.92 billed to my credit card, and I will be getting a full refund for all of this stuff. So why am I doing this? And why am I making a video about this? It has to do with GoPro, but it also just has to do with the technology industry and where it's at right now. So I was initially excited, as I am every year when a new version of GoPro comes out. The GoPro 13 being one that I was excited about because the GoPro 12 wasn't that much of a substantial jump over previous models. And so with the 13 and the new battery and the cool new adapters and the cool new lenses and all of that stuff, I had a little bit of initial hype built up within myself. And once I got the products finally, that subsided, and I didn't even end up opening everything. As you can see, like a couple of these are open. This GoPro 13 is still sealed. All of these lenses are still sealed. Some of these attachments are still sealed. I didn't even open all of them. And I didn't even actually shoot anything with the GoPro that I opened. I charged the battery. My frustration continued to fester, and I made that decision before ever even turning the GoPro on and doing anything with it. So obviously you could say that I had some initial instantaneous buyer's remorse. Now, why am I having buyer's remorse with technology and cameras that I typically enjoy getting and upgrading almost every year, but usually pretty much every single year? Well, I'm just done with the hype that these camera companies use to promote their new stuff. Now, GoPro definitely wasn't as bad as Apple was with trying to hype up the new iPhone 16s, but my experience of getting these GoPros could have been better and might have resulted in me using them while that initial excitement was there. Then they would have been integrated into what I was doing, the things that I'm filming, the way that I live my life with my technology, and I might have hung on to them. But everything that I had, including frustrations ordering, tracking my order, getting my order later than I expected, and all of those things contributed to me just deciding this year is not going to be a GoPro year for me. So let's first talk about the lack of updates. This is definitely the year where it seems like all of technology, or at least most companies, are simply changing cosmetic things, calling them features, and getting us to pay for new products again. Some people see that from the very beginning and don't buy into the hype, but there are others of us maybe that are not so strong and give into the hype and want the latest and the greatest because it helps keep us encouraged and enthusiastic about going out and creating stuff and having fun with our technology. That's definitely me. I like having the latest and greatest stuff. I like trying the new features. I like experimenting, and part of that is my creative process. My creative process might be different than yours, might be different than a lot of people's creative process, but I'm also quite a bit different than most people as well, and I often get bored, leading me to want to try new things. So as I really started immersing myself in these GoPros after the initial frustration, which I'll talk about a little bit more later, I realized that I'm not getting anything new or substantial out of this purchase that I couldn't have already gotten out of the previous GoPro cameras that I had. Now, I did sell some of those GoPro cameras. I had 4 GoPro 12 Blacks from last year, and I sold 3 of them, leaving me with just 1 remaining. And to be honest, like most of the time, I'm just using one of the cameras, but there are instances like when I go flying in a new location or I go on vacation or something, I want to take multiple GoPros. I want to have multiple angles. I like shooting and editing all of that stuff together, and that requires multiple cameras. So I got rid of some of my cameras and only have 1 left. And so these were supposed to replace the cameras that I sold. But in all honesty, the GoPro Hero 13 Black is essentially the same camera as the 12 with some cosmetic changes, a few little software changes, and maybe a few minor things that can be considered hardware differences as well. But nothing that's really going to affect the image so drastically that it's making it worth investing $1,240 in new equipment. So let's first talk about the biggest thing, which is the fact that the GoPro Hero 13 requires a whole new battery. Now, I'm all about a larger battery and getting longer battery life out of my cameras, but as I was waiting for my GoPros to arrive, I'm watching videos from some other creators where they're doing battery tests and stuff like that, but GoPro's new designed battery can't even hold a candle to last year's DJI Osmo Action 4, and definitely can't hold up against this year's Osmo Action 5. So as as I was waiting for my order to get here and I'm watching content from these other creators as they're doing these tests that I typically do when I get my products on time, I was gaining frustration, which was beginning to color my initial impression of the products that I had already ordered and had not yet received. So being that there's a whole new battery involved in this, I ended up purchasing 2 extra batteries. So between the new Hero 13 Blacks and the 2 extra batteries, I'd have 4 total batteries to work with, and then I could slowly but surely build up my arsenal of batteries like I had with previous models of GoPro. Like when their new Enduro battery came out, I started buying Enduro batteries because they did better in the cold and the battery life was better than the older blue batteries. So then there were the delivery issues, the amount of time that it took. Initially, when I looked at the GoPro's website, it said ships on such and such date. It was like the day after I placed my order, it was going to ship. And so I was anticipating my order shipping, and in the next couple of days after that, maybe 2 to 3 days, I would receive my order. But a week went by and I had no order status update. Another week went by and I'm still waiting. And then finally I get a notice that my order is preparing to ship, but it didn't ship for several days. And then finally it did ship and I ended up getting my order. After all of those delays, I had a lot of time to watch other content and watch other creators talk about their experiences with the camera. And to be honest, a lot of them did the typical thing. They're like, oh, it's the latest GoPro, it's great, it's blah, blah, blah. But there was some sort of underlying communication taking place that I can kind of see, which is that the 13 is not that exciting of a camera. Whether they were comparing it to something else like the Action 5, or just talking about it compared to previous year's model, I didn't see the same level of excitement. Nobody was just super stoked about the new Hero 13. And so as I'm waiting for my order, I'm consuming feedback from those creators. I don't have my order yet, so there's frustration building there. And not only did that stifle the excitement and anticipation that I had for the product, but it also put off plans that I had to go out and immediately start using those cameras and testing them and trying to create new things. When I finally did receive my order and I opened up what was much larger of a box than I thought it was going to be, I was surprised at all of the boxes that came in here. I ordered bundles, and I'm used to GoPro providing something else for their bundles. If you buy a bundle, it usually comes with a case that can fit some of those extra things. I didn't get that. I got rid of those cases and those things when I sold some of my Hero 12s, and so I didn't have them. I thought that I would be getting them, and I didn't get them. We got stripped down this year with the GoPro 13s. There's no cases if you buy a bundle. You simply just get the bundled items in their own boxes, and I guess maybe you save a few bucks. So my initial opinion of getting everything out of the box was that I got less this year than what I got the previous years when ordering GoPros. So that was another thing that frustrated me. Probably not the end of the world, but definitely a frustration nonetheless. During the time that I was waiting for my order, GoPro's website has always been a poor customer experience. You don't have anywhere where you can go and view your previous orders. You have to go type in your order number and your email address, and then it shows just that order. You can't see previous orders. If there's no status for that order, just nothing shows up. It doesn't even tell you anything until there's an order status. And so the customer experience is just really bad, and it's been that way with GoPro for a long time. I just don't understand. Maybe not a lot of people order directly from GoPro and they buy their GoPros on Amazon or B&H Photo or other websites like that. But GoPro's actual website has had a poor customer experience for a long time. And when I was looking at, should I cancel my order? Is there something else that I should do here? There's no easy way to do any of that stuff without contacting them directly. Now, it wasn't too challenging to go and actually get an RMA for this stuff. I typed in my order number and my email address. I selected the products, I hit submit, and about 30 minutes later, I got a shipping label and an RMA form in my email that I could print out and put with this stuff in the box to send it all back, because I am sending it all back. Everything here is going back, and that's that. But I haven't really had such a poor customer experience in managing the products and things that I purchased on any other website other than GoPro's in a long time. So let's jump back into this mindset of just not buying into what tech is putting out there right now. It's something that I'm trying to do this year to be more mindful with the money that I'm spending on the stuff. It's been really easy to justify the expenses because I can make some YouTube videos, maybe even make a course and talk about some things and teach them and earn a little bit of money back on my initial investment. That has always been my go-to excuse, I would say, or justification for spending the money on the newest, latest, and greatest stuff. But this year, I just don't feel right doing that anymore. I don't feel right giving these companies money for subpar product upgrades. And I do have to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that they're sitting around thinking everybody needs to upgrade every single year. They probably understand that most customers' journey is to upgrade every couple of years. Maybe somebody with a GoPro 9 is going to jump up to the GoPro 13. Maybe they're on that odd number, or maybe they're on an even number. They're not like me and maybe a handful of others that are looking to maybe buy the latest and greatest every single year. So I get that I am a bit different. But when you start looking at the quality of the product that you're getting over the last several years, if I start looking at the content that I was able to create with a GoPro Hero 9, which was several years ago, like a 4-year-old camera, there is not much that I can do with a GoPro Hero 13 that I couldn't do with a GoPro Hero 9. And I also understand that companies can't just flat out say that, hey, here's our GoPro Hero 13. It's about this much better than a GoPro Hero 9 or a GoPro Hero 10. But go ahead and order it if you want to, or just use the one that you already have that does a great job. Like, nobody's saying that. No other creators are saying that either. Everybody's putting out onto the internet, here's the latest and greatest. We'll compare it to the other latest and greatest. Maybe we'll compare it to last year's model. But not a lot of people are really starting to push back and saying, maybe I just don't want to play into this anymore. Maybe I only want to use what's going to bring me initial value. And I don't care if I'm making a video 3 years from now about a 3-year-old camera. I'm okay with that. And I don't need to be on the bleeding edge every single time anymore. And I think that I would rather be communicating that to the world through YouTube. Hey, here's a video about 10 things that I'm doing with my GoPro or whatever. And maybe it's a 3-year-old model. And the video doesn't matter what model you have. It doesn't matter if you have the latest camera or if you have a GoPro Hero 5 or an older camera that you're still using. This information is going to be valuable and it's going to help you do more with your GoPro camera. That's the kind of content that I want to be creating. And in order for me to do that, I need to start pushing back. And I also need to encourage other people to start pushing back against the yearly upgrade where we're constantly being marketed to get the latest and greatest because it's 13% better, or it's this, it takes this lens now, it recognizes that, it has a better battery, it accepts a new mount or something like that. Yeah, these are all incremental good things that probably do improve the experience 1 or 2% here or there, but does it change what we're able to produce? Am I able to produce more because there's a new mount? Am I able to produce more because there's a new battery that may or may not extend the battery life that much more than last year's model? Probably not. What I need to do is maximize what I have and use what I have instead of focusing on the resale value or instead of focusing on having the latest and greatest. Maybe that's not the most healthy part of my creative process. Not every part of our creative process is healthy and beneficial. We need to look at things. We need to examine those things. We need to understand like what is in the way of me being creative. And if having the latest and greatest tool is part of that, that's something that I need to cut away from my process. And I need to learn to be content with maximizing what I have and not looking to the next thing to keep me excited, to keep me moving forward. So the GoPro Hero 13 is the upgrade that's causing me to downgrade. And I'm okay with that because these cameras and accessories don't do anything that the previous year model didn't do already. And so I'm going to focus on using those and maximizing what I already have. But I'd love to hear your opinion. Share with me down in the comments section what you're feeling, what your thoughts are. I'm sure I have evoked some emotions here. Maybe you're feeling the same thing as I am, or maybe you have a whole different mindset altogether. I'd love to discuss that down in the comment section below. But meanwhile, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's talk about things down in the comment section, and I'll see you back in the next one. Take care.